Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my Facebook Live this morning. My name's Jenny McCormac. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in Brackley in the centre of the UK. Welcome if you're joining me live. Feel free to comment and join in the conversation. If you'll know if you're live because it's got a little red live button in the top left hand side of your screen. Morning, Molly. If you're watching on catch up, you're absolutely welcome to comment, but I won't be able to reply live, but I will try and hop back and check comments later on. So the stamp set we've been using so far this week is this one called Press On. And it features, as you can see, coffee cups, teacups, takeaway, and excuse me, a main cup there, and some suitable sentiments to go with coffee. So coffee is always a good idea. Press on, cup of thanks. All you need is confidence and lots of coffee. Little heart, coffee beans, and a little sunburst there. So let me show you what we've created on Monday and Tuesday. Hi Jeanette. Let me move this one out of the way. So Monday and Tuesday, so Monday's card was this one, just using the little coffee cups and our Stamparatus to get these nicely lined up and spaced out. And a little bit of blends colouring in for that. And then yesterday's card was this one, featuring the larger takeaway cup, some paper piecing under here, and then I've actually tied a little ribbon, so it does cover up the paper rather, but I rather like the little ribbon on there. And on the inside I've got the brick wall, and the brick wall was created from the centres of these two stamps, because Stampin' Up have cut the centres out to stop you getting extra ink on your stamped image, and by using these two I then created the brick wall. If you haven't seen that, then hop back to yesterday's video that talks about the brick wall. So today I thought I would use this larger stamp here and use our Stamparatus for a couple of extra tips. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do some mirror stamping, because I only have one of these cups, and what I want to do is have one facing that way and then the other one, if you like, facing it that way. But obviously this single stamp only goes one direction. So what we can do is we can use our silicone mat to create a mirror image of this, and you can use this for any mirror imaging at all on your stamps. So let me crack on. First thing I'm going to do is line this up so it's straight on my piece of card. So I am going to use a piece of previously used grid paper for my Stamparatus, just to get this cup positioned, because I think I put this sticker on slightly wonky. It's not dead, the actual stamp is not dead straight at the bottom, it's dead straight at the top. So what I want to do is two things. I want to find out roughly where this is going to go. Doesn't really matter. Let's put it up in the corner. And then working out roughly where I want this to be positioned on my card. So this is going to be my base card. It's cut at 9.5 centimeters. It's got a fabric hair attached to it. Like so. I'm pretty sure that isn't straight. So let's find out. So what I'm going to do is just pick that up. Obviously I hadn't cleaned that from before, but actually that looks quite straight, but let me just test it on here. Hi, Louise. Oh, thanks, Jeanette. So what I'm going to do is I use the grid paper underneath because that will tell me how straight this is. Because if you looked at this, this could be straight, but it will be noticeable if I mirror image them and they're slightly wonky, because they will both look wonky. So I think I'll get away with that. Let me have a look. Yeah, I think I'll get away with that as being straight. So I can take that out of the way. Let's get a clean sheet of paper. So what I'm going to do is pop this into the corner, just pop my magnets on top, and I cover my magnets with some duct tapes to make them easier to get hold of, because they are very strong. Okay, so what I'm going to do to start with is ink up and stamp that single cup. This is also, so this is the mirror technique. It's also called the reflection technique, because you can do exactly the same thing to get reflections of things. Okay, so there's one cup. What we then do is take that away, pop our silicone mat in its place, and basically we're using this almost like a transfer. So what we're going to do is ink this up and stamp it onto our silicone mat. Now, because it's a silicone mat, the ink will stay on top of the mat. Okay, I'm going to do this a couple of times just to build up the ink. And the good thing obviously is that the stamper artist is going to position this in the same place every time. I'm going to do one more, because effectively we're going to, this will be a second generation stamp, so I want it nice and strong and bold. Okay, so there I've got my coffee cup. So what I'm going to do is turn this piece of paper over so that the mirrored image is going to appear on this side. I'll pop the magnet on, press this down. Now this doesn't have to be inked, it's still inked because I haven't cleaned it, but okay, this is on the back. So if I now lift this up carefully, I've got one cup on the right and one cup on the left. Okay, make sure you wipe your silicone sheet down, because obviously the ink is going to stay on there until it dries. So the silicone sheet is a great tool obviously for the stamper artist, and this technique is great for using wet glue on, because it just literally wipes off afterwards. Okay, so there I have my two cups facing each other. What I want to do is pop these onto a gingham tablecloth. I want to look like a bit like a sort of French cafe type thing. So what I have is this fun buffalo check stamp. And if you look at this stamp carefully, it's got a solid line on one side and an open line on the other. And this is so you can stamp multiples on a larger sheet of paper and have it join up exactly. So what I want to do is use this bit to go underneath my coffee cups. So this is where you can use the stamper artist for another trick. I'm just going to grab my grid paper back. So this is our grid paper that's designed for the stamper artist, so it fits that perfectly. It's got two sides, as you can see. I'm just going to use this one. I've used it before, but I'm only using it for scratch placement, that is all. So what I'm going to do is take my stamp and take the side with the solid line, because obviously I don't want the broken lines next to the tea and coffee cup. So the solid line is going to go here on the right hand side. Shall I bring it down a little bit, like so. And let's grab a different plate, like so, and pick that up, like that. Okay, now just to test to see where this line is going to go, I'm just going to stamp the outside edge. I don't have to do it actually in detail, I can just do it very lightly, because what I want is an index for where this tablecloth top will be, so along here, because what I want to do is line the bottom of these cups with that tablecloth, like so. So what I'm going to do when I line it up is pop that on there, and then I can ink it up. So the best way, I reckon, that this will work, let's put that back in, is if I draw, oh, I've got ink on there, look, I might redo this in a minute, but I'm going to draw a line across there. So what I will do is redo it. Morning, Verity. Thanks for joining us. So I'm going to take a pencil and just draw from the edge the line where those coffee cups are, or teacups are sitting, because my theory is that I can then put my card on here, lining up the two lines there with the edge of my stamped image. Let me wipe this down just so I'm not getting ink completely everywhere. That's the only problem with red, isn't it? It does tend to go everywhere. Okay, so I appreciate you can't see a lot of this detail, but basically all I'm doing is taking my pencil lines and lining it up with the edge of my stamped tablecloth, and it's obviously only going to do the top little bit, so for once I'm not inking up the whole thing. Now this gingham does have a slightly distressed look to it, so let's see how that comes out. There we go. Voila. So there I've got my tablecloth and my coffee cups. So I can see that they're not quite straight, not even 0.5 millimeter, but they're not quite straight on there. So I am going to re-stamp this, and also because I've got red marks on the top right hand side. So I know that is in position now, and as is that. So let me wipe this down. Yes, it is an occupational hazard, quite right, Verity. Okay, let's take this one out, leave that on the mat ready, and I just want to correct this here. I did think it was very slightly out. You can just see it on there. Let's try. I'm just going to put it on this side and reposition that stamp. So sorry, you're going to see this again. So it goes up very, very slightly. Trying not to get my hands in the ink anywhere. Right, let's try that. Yes, can you see it's still, I've made it worse now. Let's see if that is better. I'm just going to move this round because I don't want to look at the wrong picture. So this is quite useful to have scrap pieces of this. If you've used it but there's still plenty of life in them, then don't throw them away. Yes. Okay. Right, let's see. I'm doing the stamping in the round here without trying to. Right, let's have a look. That's much better. So I'm looking at the gap between the edge of the line and there. I'm going with that. Going with that, guys. Okay. Make sure this is nice and clean. Make sure there's no ink on my magnets. Okay, so here we go again. So if you didn't see this first time, or if you've seen it for the first time, here's a repeat. So stamp once, like so. Take the silicone mat. You can leave that there, or you can remove it. Well, you'll need to remove it anyway, won't you? Okay, pop the silicone mat down. Re-ink your stamp in the same position. And do it a couple of times so that you've got a nice dark image. One for luck. There we go. Take your original one. Okay. Turn it over, and you can sort of do a guide to make sure you've got it obviously in the right position. And then you want to put this down very carefully, like so. Don't need to re-ink this one. Obviously there will be ink on there because it just went onto the silicone mat. There we go, our 2 coffee cups. And what's interesting is this one here is double-sided, exactly in the same position. So if you wanted a 3D coffee cup to see either side, then you've got that. Right. Wipe the silicone mat down. And I'm going to swap back to my gingham. Now the gingham and everything is still in place. So there's my gingham layer. Let me find my sample here. So it doesn't matter that my cups are in a slightly different position because I'm just using this line here. And I'm just going to draw a line on the base of here. There we go. Trying not to get red ink anywhere. And I'm literally, you only have to do the edge because all you want to do is get that line matching up with that. Okay. See if I can do it without getting completely inked up this time. So I'm just using my little pencil marks there. Like so. And ink it up. If you had a clear stamp, obviously you could see exactly where that line was going to go. But because we've got a foam mount stamp here, and of course it looks like it's in the wrong position because there is a gap on the edge of the stamp here. So I did move it a little bit further down, but I think I'll be alright because I'm going to colour those in. So there we go. Actually, what you could do, thinking about it, is that you could stamp these and mask them off and actually have them further down on the tablecloth. That would be another way of doing it. Right, let me wipe this stamp down. There we go. Okay, so there I've got my cups on the tablecloth. So I have got this slightly further down than I wanted, but I think I'll be okay. So what I'm going to do is going to colour in the tops and the bottoms, and I could paper piece these centres actually with the gingham, although the gingham is quite large, but you could have matching gingham in there, couldn't you? Right, let me grab some blends pens. So I'm going to grab I think I'm going to need these white and then just red at the bottom. Yes, give that a go. I can find real red. This is light real red. Let's see. Yep, that will do nicely. So I'm just seeing if I can cover this up here where I've got my tablecloth. Like so. Well, while I'm doing this, the weather has certainly changed. We had a little bit of rain here last night, but it is dry at the moment. Definitely cooler. I don't know what everybody else has in terms of weather. There we go. Do this one. And then I could put the sunburst across the top. Let's have a look and see. Okay. So if you hadn't already spotted it, oops, carried away there. We have our stamp sale on for today, 15% off selected stamps. All of the information is on my website. Plus the links are here on Facebook. Okay, so I was wondering if this sunburst, which I haven't used yet, would go between those. It would work quite nicely, wouldn't it? And I wonder if coffee would go between them. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. I think that would work across the top though. Okay, let's put this on. Yes, I'm going to do that in espresso, and in fact what I'm going to do is stamp the little heart in the centres of the 2 cups, I think. And then I've got layers of real red and a white card underneath. Now, let's find my scrap paper. Oh, it's on the floor. Just because I haven't used this stamp yet. I just want to make sure it stamps okay. There we go. So I am watching on my block here because I have got little ridges on this tile. So I'm just making sure I don't go over the ridge, like so. Voila. Let's grab the little heart. Sweet. Oops. So I'm going to stamp that in. I'm going to stamp it in brown actually, in the espresso. Let's have a look and see. Yeah. So one going there. One going there. And then I'm wondering if this coffee will fit in here. So it is a little bit shorter than the stamp itself. So let's try it on this one. This is where having a bit of scratch paper is always useful, even if it's just cheap copy paper or something, because you can test your stamps, but you can also see whether they're going to fit, and that does indeed fit in the bottom of that. I'm just bringing this to one side because I can't see over the camera. Oops, that went down a bit lopsided. Okay, that worked. Brilliant. Okay, I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do is pop that onto there. Now what I might do is darken this with the dark real red, because this is quite light against the other. So let me just grab that. Yes and no is the answer. And the only reason I use the tile is because for the camera it prefers a lighter background, whereas this is quite dark, and also this, well, gets dirty, but I wipe that off in the same way that I wipe the tile off. So I have been using the tile, but I do sometimes just use grid paper, but it's mainly for the camera, not for any other reason. If I'm stamping on my other stamp table, then I don't use that. So I'm just looking for dark real red, if I have it to hand. Here it is. I've got all my reds together. So I just see what difference this is. This is a very old one. September 18, 2 years. Yeah, can you see it's just that little bit darker, obviously, as it should be. So I'm just going to use that on here just to darken this up a little bit. But say you could paper piece this like I did yesterday, put some patterned paper on top. You could stamp and just cut out the coffee cups full stop. So you would still need to do the mirror technique, but then cut them out. There we go, I feel that's better. Got a bit slapdash with my colouring down there. Sorry about that. But I promise this is not a colouring waterclass. This is not a colouring masterclass. There we go. I could do the handles as well, but I know if I'm doing this on camera with people watching and I'm doing a circle, I will mess it up altogether. So there we go, nice and bright and cheerful. So I'm just going to layer those up. Right, here's my seal. So this is going to go onto a real red base card. There we go. Like so. And then I have a white card for that. And I'm just wondering whether to be bold and stamp the gingham across the bottom of that card. I think that would be quite sweet. Let me just see that that will fit. So what I'm doing is I just want to see, no, you see it won't quite fit here, and I think it would look odd. Oh, maybe it wouldn't look odd if I did it as long as it was centrally, and that's because these stamps are designed, because Stampin' Up is an American company, these stamps are designed with the American card sizes in mind, and their cards are slightly wider but shorter. But let's give it a go. I can always use another piece of card. Just think it would be a nice touch on the bottom. Right, it's moving that out of the way so I don't cover it up. Wipe this down because I've just inked it up, or rather haven't cleaned it properly. As you can see on here. Good noise, isn't it? Right. Just using a muslin cloth to dry it off. Otherwise, if this is still, the stamp is still wet and you add ink, it can then sort of smudge a bit. Okay. I'm going to pop this back on because this is my index for where that's going to go. Let's pop that there. I'm going to grab my card. Now I don't need to mark this because I'm just going to position it however deep I want, but I am going to use the grid lines perhaps for that. So I've got 2, I had sort of 2.5 before. Let's go for 3. So I'm just centering that, and actually I'm going to put my magnet there. Let's give it a go. just as a finishing touch. I could always trim my card down very slightly and then the other two layers slightly if I wanted to, but go. There we are. So I can't believe it'll be October next week. Just unreal, isn't it? There we go. That's alright. You wipe this down. This is getting very red. Okay, let's remove that. Dry my hands. Move that out of the way and put the base onto the card. There we go. So I hope you like what I've done today. Something a little bit different. It's always nice to revisit Stampin' Artist techniques. So this was the mirrored image stamping, and then masking off to use this the edge of this as a tablecloth. I just want to check back and see who's here, because my my tablet for some reason says if nothing's going on, I'll just close down. Which is not very helpful. Okay, oh hi Babsy, thank you for joining us. So I've got Verity, Babsy, Molly, Jeanette that I can see. Apologies if you're watching and I haven't seen your name pop up. So let's pop that onto there. So I'm just using our seal and pop that onto the top. So I say, not my best colouring in today, but there's our finished card with our mirrored coffee cups, our little tablecloth inside, and obviously coffee. But you could have replaced that with press on or a cup of thanks, as long as you had it further down maybe. Hope your day is full of perks. So any of those sentiments. So that's today's. Let me show you briefly. This was yesterday's with some paper piecing. This was Monday's with some some straight cutting out and layering, so not really decoupage but a little layer of that. So there we go, that's the press on stamp set and the buffalo check that I've used today. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Do check out our stamp sale which runs out this evening, so 15% off a whole selection of stamps. I was going to do a run through, but I'm sure that if you have a look at the graphics or if you have a look online, you can skip through the stamps that are on there and see if there's anything that you would like. And oh, I've got a daddy long legs. I thought he was dead, but he's alive. Let's let him out my window. So I shall be back tomorrow, Thursday, at 3 p.m. and I have no idea as yet what I will be doing. So you'll have to wait and see. I might give you a sneak peek because I'll be designing that this afternoon or tomorrow. So tomorrow is 7 p.m, not 3 p.m. Sorry, I've lost the plot. So I have an evening session on a Thursday. So I hope you can join me at 7 tomorrow. Thank you so much. Any questions or queries, just send me a message or comment on this. If you're watching on replay, thank you so much for being patient with me, and I look forward to crafting with you soon. Take care, look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, and keep crafting. Thank you.